Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and you're taking a live look from Haifa in northern Israel, where we continue to follow breaking news as Hezbollah launched more than 100 rockets early Sunday across northern Israel, with some landing near the city of Haifa. The overnight rockets were in response to Israeli attacks in Lebanon that have killed dozens, including a veteran Hezbollah commander, and an unprecedented attack targeting the group's communication devices, including pagers and walkie-talkies. Air raid sirens across northern Israel sent hundreds of thousands of people scrambling into shelters. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinn. Time right now is 1:07 Eastern, 10:07 Pacific, and I wanted to get back to this live look from Haifa, that is in northern Israel. We do know that one rocket struck near a residential building, wounding at least 3 people and setting buildings and cars on fire. A Hezbollah leader declared an open-ended battle of reckoning was underway as both sides appeared to be closer to an all-out war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel would take whatever action was necessary to restore security in the north and allow people to return to their homes. The Israeli military said it carried out strikes across southern Lebanon over the past 24 hours, hitting about 400 militant sites, including rocket launchers. To speak more on this, I do want to bring in Josh Hasten, who is the Middle East correspondent for Jewish News Syndicate, as well as the co-host of the JNS podcast, Jerusalem Minute, and the host of the weekly radio program, Israel Uncensored, on the very latest out of the Middle East. Josh, thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I did want to ask you, there seems to be a definite increase in attacks between Israel and Hezbollah. What can you share about the very latest as we continue to follow this breaking news?
Yeah, absolutely. So the other day, Israel took out one of Hezbollah's top commanders, Ibrahim Akil, and reports indicate that he and his cohorts there were planning a massive terrorist attack, an infiltration similar to the October 7th massacre carried out by Hamas. So the group of them were meeting in a location, secret location in Beirut, and Israeli fighter jets sprung into action and took out the entire group of terrorists who were planning another October 7th style massacre. Let's remember here, Hezbollah started this on October the 8th, unprovoked. They decided they were going to get involved. Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis, these are agents of Iran. Iran is the octopus, and these are their proxy tentacles all over the Middle East. So Hezbollah, unprovoked, decided to attack. They've been attacking every day. Let's remember that they've been firing rockets, missiles, sending in drones. Dozens have been killed, including a teenager killed today who was in his car trying to get to safety after one of the air raid sirens. An Israeli 17-year-old was killed. So Israel is committed, and our leadership is committed to restoring order, to making sure that the 80,000 residents who are currently not in their homes will be able to go home safely. The chief of staff just spoke a few minutes ago, as Prime Minister Netanyahu did early today, indicating that one of the war goals is officially to make sure those 80,000 Israelis can return safely to their homes.
And yet this comes as a Hezbollah leader has declared an open-ended battle of reckoning. Very strong words. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, they're attacking with rockets every day. Your camera angle there showed this the city of Haifa. So the rockets today have been traveling further south into Israel, striking near the Lake of Galilee, striking near Haifa, which is Israel's 3rd largest city. So yes, Israel has caused extensive damage to Hezbollah, targeting those rockets, taking out key commanders, and also we haven't taken fully taken responsibility yet for the pager explosions there, those coordinated strikes and the walkie-talkies. But everyone is pointing towards Israel. So Israel is doing what it has to do in order to keep its residents safe. So Hezbollah has threatened many, many times. This isn't something new. This isn't something that started over the weekend. But yes, the rhetoric is definitely stronger. And Israel is confident, our leadership and the heads of the IDF are confident that Israel will respond in kind to keep all of our residents safe.
And again, Israel saying that they will do whatever it takes to make sure that this area of Israel is safe and people can safely go back home. But when we take a look at the trajectory of all the events preceding today and following, what does this look like? Could this become an all-out war?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it goes back to what Iran wants. Iran is calling the shots here, whether in the north, whether in the south, whether the Houthis operating out of Yemen. Also, Israel today, there were two drones or missiles launched from Iraq. So we're fighting a war here on 7 fronts. It is very possible that this could escalate even further. It depends on what the Iranian leadership decides. They're the ones calling the shots. So we have to remember that they're the ones in charge. They're the ones advising Hezbollah, instructing Hezbollah what to do. So it's in the hands of Iran. So I think maximum pressure needs to be put on the Iranians in order to stop this behavior. But that being said, Iran is going full steam ahead towards nuclear weapons. So that's where they stand. Their goal is to destroy not only Israel but the Western world. They call Israel the little Satan and the United States the great Satan. So this is really, very, very pertinent, not only to Israel or in the Middle East, but to the entire world, specifically the United States of America.
And there will likely be international ripple effects. I do want to get to that because Iran really is behind Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthi rebels. They're the ones, as you mentioned, making those decisions and allowing their proxies to carry these attacks out. As we look ahead, when it comes to Iran specifically, as you mentioned, they are inching closer to obtaining nuclear capability. What does that look like? Will they ever respond directly? They have in the past, not to any success, but could that be a possibility? And if so, is the world ready for that? No doubt there are conversations that we aren't privy to looking at that possibility.
So first of all, let's remember Iran did try to strike Israel with a massive drone and missile attack back in April. That was their first attempt. And as they are pursuing nuclear weapons, the irony is here that the United Nations in New York, the General Assembly just the other day, passed resolutions against the state of Israel. We are the ones targeted on October 7th. We are the ones who are defending ourselves against all the Iranian proxies and the Iranian threat directly. But Israel has made it clear time and time again, if necessary, we will take action on our own. If others are not willing to step up on our behalf, Israel will go at it alone. And we've seen some of the different kinds of strikes. Look at the Hezbollah strike in terms of the pagers or whatnot. Israel has a long arm. We have a long reach. We can get to all of these leaders. We can get to those who are responsible, whether it's the Houthis, which we struck in Yemen. If necessary, we will go after the head of the octopus. We will go after Iran, hopefully with the support of the United States and all of our allies. But we will do, and our leaders have said it time and time again, we will do what is necessary to ensure the survival and the well-being of the residents of the state of Israel, the citizens of the state of Israel, even if it means going against world perception or the perception of Israel at the United Nations. We'll go at it alone if necessary, if it means our survival.
And that's what Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stressed, that Israel will go at it alone, as you reiterated. But what is that line in the sand for the allies of Israel to actually, not just provide funding or weaponry, but perhaps boots on the ground or whatever that might look like? What would have to happen for that to occur?
That's a great question, and I don't know. If you're talking about the Biden administration, for example, I don't know what it would take in order for them to say, "Hey, enough." In terms of Iran, over the last several years, Iran was crippled in terms of funding with the sanctions that were in place, and unfortunately, recently the administration lifted those sanctions. So it's very perplexing in terms of that type of policy, whether it's with Iran, whether it's with Hamas, the withholding of necessary weapons, which Israel needed, not only for Hamas, but also for Hezbollah by the administration. So I'd be curious to know. I know that the U.S. has sent warships to the region. Would they be used in a strike against Iran? That question remains to be seen. But nevertheless, I know for a fact that Iran's neighbors, they also fear. I'm talking about Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, and those nations which have a peace deal with Israel. I'm talking about the Abraham Accords, the normalization deal. They know that they could come under attack as well from the Iranians. So it's in their best interests to side with Israel. I know it's very difficult, the position that they're in, directly bordering Iran, and also standing against their fellow Muslims or Arabs, whatever the case may be. It's difficult. They're in a difficult position, including Saudi Arabia as well. But at the end of the day, they certainly would be happy if Israel went forward and took out the nuclear threat, because they know they could be affected as well.
Josh, I do have to ask you this because we're 44 days from the United States presidential election. Does that timeline factor in at all with any sort of decision making when it comes to how to address the conflicts, the strategy from all sides?
I hope not, because you could always delay things. You have the November elections, then you have the inauguration, which only happens in January. But Israel's been at this since October the 7th. It's almost a year, and it's taken longer than we thought. But that being said, Israel's made great progress in taking out Hamas. Just last week, we announced that the Rafah battalion of Hamas, even though the United States administration said Israel should not go into Rafah, we did. It was necessary in order to take out those terrorists. So I don't really think the U.S. election plays a huge role. Obviously, the Americans are our best friend, and best friends, and we know the American people stand behind Israel. There's no doubt about it. I'm completely convinced of that. But that being said, we cannot wait as long as we have these threats, which are impacting us on a daily basis, the daily rockets, the drone strikes, the missile attacks, the Iranian threat, whether it's the ballistic missiles or the nuclear possibility of nuclear weapons. We can't wait to see who's going to be the next president in the Oval Office. We have to do what is necessary. We have to make sure that those 80,000 Israelis go back to their homes. We have to ensure there's quiet in the south. We have to make sure there's quiet Judea, Samaria, Jerusalem, and we have to take care of all those 7 fronts which are directly targeting the state of Israel right now.
Josh, before we let you go, is there anything else that you would like to share with our Live Now from Fox viewers?
Yeah, I would just say that I think over the last several days, the key here is that we saw that Israel has the ability. It has the ability to cause damage, unprecedented, pinpointed strikes like never before. We haven't seen, I don't think, in the history of warfare, anything to this level. There were other types of similar attacks with, cell phones and whatnot, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. And again, the haters are accusing Israel of carrying out strikes against civilians, and that's absolutely not the case. We just saw yesterday, it was actually reported that those beepers that exploded, it didn't all happen at once, according to the latest reports. These were pinpointed beeper strikes. In other words, Israel decided we are going to take out this person, this person, this person, because they are involved in terrorism against the state of Israel. So these are pinpointed, strategic, very, very important attacks. And it just shows, do not mess with the state of Israel, because you don't know what's going to happen to you next. Don't mess with us. We'll come. We have the ability to come and get you.
Josh, as always, we appreciate you joining us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.